Welcome to the Big Game Hunting Podcast, where we help hunters like you prepare for the big game hunting adventures you've always dreamed of. Now, here's your host, John McAdams.
Hello, John McAdams here, and you are listening to episode 238 of the Big Game Hunting Podcast. I just made it home from a fantastic hunt over in West Texas for Sandhill crane with several podcast listeners. Right, I made an announcement several months ago that I was going to be outfitting a couple of hunts specifically for podcast listeners. Well, this was the first one. We just did it. It was great. Now, today's episode is a short campfire style discussion of the highlights of day one of the Sandhill crane hunt from everyone who joined me there. We did hunt for one more day after we recorded this episode, but everyone left early in the day on Sunday, and that's why we recorded this episode halfway through the hunt when we just had one full day of hunting under our belts. Now, I will record a more detailed recap of the hunt that you will receive in a few days, but I wanted to get this out to you as soon as possible because I know a lot of listeners have been very excited to hear how things went. Now, similar to episode 220 that I recorded from the lodge up in Colorado on my pronghorn and bison hunt, we recorded this episode using a portable audio recorder. So the audio is not up to the normal standards, and I apologize in advance for any distortions, echoes, background noises, stuff like that. Even so, I think you'll enjoy it. Now, I hunted Sandhill crane with this exact outfitter back in 2021. Check out episode 173 and 185 to learn more. Now, I knew immediately after that hunt that I wanted to go back. I also started thinking about a way to organize some sort of event to meet podcast listeners in person. We did that event with Kevin Robertson at Conroe Taxidermy in May of 2022, and that was super fun, so I started thinking about a way to organize a hunt with some podcast listeners as well. Now, for various reasons, bird hunts like this are nice to do in a group, and since I knew the guys at Western Wing Outfitters and I had such a great experience with them last year, I guess it was a little bit more than a year ago in December of 2021, but same idea, I decided to conduct my first ever big game hunting podcast hunt with them going after Sandhill crane. So I've been looking forward to this trip for a long time. At the same time, I have corresponded for years with a number of podcast listeners, to include several guys who joined me on this hunt, and it was great to meet those people face to face, and I really sincerely enjoyed hunting with them. Now, additionally, I'm in the process of editing a video of this hunt. I mounted a Tacticam under my shotgun, and I obtained some pretty cool video clips of some of my shots. Additionally, my friend Chris, who also joined us on the hunt, mounted a GoPro on his shotgun as well, and he and I were on opposite ends of the blind on the first day of the hunt, so we each captured some unique views of the action. I'm in the process of stitching all of that stuff together and will initially release the finished video to my Patreon channel when I'm done, and hopefully that'll be here this week. So make sure you are supporting me on Patreon to see that video as soon as it releases if you're not already doing so. Click the link in the show notes or go to patreon.com/biggamehunter. Okay, now let's go straight to Abilene, Texas for a taste of how things went on the first day of this Sandhill crane hunt. Okay, hello. John McAdams of the Big Game Hunting Podcast here, recording this live from lovely Abilene, Texas. From our hunt out here with Western Wing Outfitters. We have day one of our crane hunt in the books. Had a great day out there today. We'll talk about the details of it here in a minute. And we got hopefully another great day coming up tomorrow. But we just had a great dinner, sitting around having dessert, and wanted to take a little bit of time to introduce some of the guys that are here on the hunt with me today and talk a little bit about the hunting so far today. So I'll pass it around, let everyone introduce themselves, and then we'll dive into the hunt in a little bit more detail.
Hi, Rand Fischletter from McCormick, South Carolina. A year ago, I had never even heard of Sandhill crane, and I just always listened to John's podcast and happened to catch it. And I thought it'd be a great thing to try. We had good weather, and I was a little concerned about how the wind would affect the hunting, but it really helped us quite a bit in the way they landed. We had a great hunt, great setup, great decoys, good camaraderie, and we all came home with some ribeye in the sky. It was an excellent hunt, and I hope to do it again sometime.
Hi, I'm Dave. I'm from Northeast Kansas. I hunted exactly one sandhill crane before in my life many years ago and wanted to do it with an outfitter that specializes in it. And this is the area where the bulk of them winters. So here's where I came, and it's been great so far.
Hey, this is Mark Floyd. I like fish. I had never heard of a sandhill crane till about a year ago, and learned about it from John's podcast, got really excited about it, and decided to come out and see what it was about.
I'm Chris McCall from Lufkin, Texas, and I've been wanting to hunt sandhill for the last 3 or 4 years. Been talking about it with some friends and family members, and finally was presented the opportunity with John, and jumped at it. So it's a great time.
Hi, my name is Antonio Chavez. I'm from Bernie, Texas. It's been a great time, just getting to meet a bunch of new people, but also trying sandhill crane for the first time, and it's everything that I wanted from the hunt, and everything that I expected it would be. So it's been a great time.
Okay, so like I said, we're only halfway through our hunt right now. We did a full day of hunting today, did real well, and then we just had dinner and whatnot, and we're going to do another morning of hunting tomorrow, but we're doing this now because probably everyone's going to be jetting out of here tomorrow on Sunday, and after we finish hunting. So I wanted to let everyone kind of capture some of their feelings about it and whatnot, and so I'll hit the highlights of what happened today, and we'll let anyone kind of share anything interesting that they experienced today, and we'll close it out, and I'll do another wrap up of this deal by myself later. But long story short, this morning we went out and we were hunting on a wheat field out, I guess, northwest of Abilene. Drove out there super early in the morning. Everyone pitched in, put out all the decoys, set up an A-frame blind out there, brushed it in with tumbleweeds and everything, and ready to go by the time the sun came up. We're all just sitting there waiting for the crane to come in off the roost. And first thing in the morning, gosh, I mean, how big was that first flock? Was it 100 birds that came in initially, or was it more like 50 that landed short of us? Yeah, like 150 birds came in, looking like they were coming in great, and then they landed like 200 yards short in the same field of us, and we're just sitting there watching them. And I don't know if they just liked that spot more, if they saw something that they didn't like with us, but things didn't pan out there. And after a little while, we got, I think a group of 6 came in, and I think between all of us, we ended up shooting 4 out of that group, and then onesies and twosies kind of coming in the rest of the day. And by and large, the group did really well shooting. There were very few birds that we shot at that did not make it, or that made it out, that escaped from us. There was a lot of frustration at some points in the day with birds kind of coming in and hanging up just outside of shotgun range and circling and waving off and whatnot. But all told, we had a lot of action this morning, saw a lot of birds, and we came real close to getting a 6-man limit out there. I think limit would have been 18 birds, and we came home with 16 today, so real good. And it was kind of a cool deal we had. We were all sitting in there in a line in this A-frame, and Chris and Mark were at one end, and Dave and I were all the way at the other end, and it was set up in such a way with the wind and the decoys and everything where Austin was trying to entice these birds to kind of come in front of us from left to right, starting at his end with Chris and kind of coming towards Dave and me on the other end to land in the decoys, and he was going to call the shot each time in as close as possible to let everyone get a shot at him. And by and large, I think we did a good job of doing that, and with everyone kind of concentrating just on a couple birds and whatnot, those birds, as everyone was noting today, those birds are tough. They will take a couple of hits, and you'll see feathers fly off of them, and they'll just keep on trucking. But we were laying it down on them and dropping those birds out there. Go out there, get all the birds, get all the shotgun shells, put them back in the blind, wait for the next group to come in. And so it was a busy, fun morning, and like I said, just a good group of guys to be out there with, and just a lot of action and a busy day. Great morning, beautiful weather, and I'm looking forward to doing it again today. Doing it again tomorrow. So I'll pass it around to you guys one last time. Anything in particular that you thought was really interesting that you wanted to highlight from the hunt today, and we'll close it up.
In between shooting sessions, we had time to talk about the birds and learn about their age limits and that they can live for exceeding 2 decades, and where they come from. And it was more than just shooting. It was an educational opportunity, and I had a great time.
Yeah, learning like the difference between how a young crane looks versus a mature versus an old one.
Yeah, and some of the details about their roosting habits and their foot structure and what their diets are, and it was very illuminating.
This is Dave again. I think for me, one of the highlights was the wind actually made them hang up and it took forever to get to the blind. So you've got all that anticipation for so long, and they would turn one way or turn the other, and you got your hopes up when they're coming straight at you, and then they'd turn away and come back. But anyway, that was really a big part of it for me. And then you had the occasional one that would just drop out of the sky, and you look out there and they'd be standing in the decoys. So a little bit of everything, and that really kept it fun and different all the time. Really had a ball.
Yeah, for me, it was fun seeing how tough they were. Just you hit them with 2 or 3 shots, they go down, and then they're not done. They had the one that just tried to get up and fight.
I gotta second that. I've done a lot of duck hunting, but this was somewhat the same, but also somewhat very different. Is steel shot, normally good shot placement, and you take down a duck. This one, sometimes 2-3 shots, even different guys, or you still have to run out there and make sure it succumbs to its wounds. And but tons of fun. Had a great time doing it.
Yeah, this is Antonio. I think definitely the anticipation, like what Dave said, and it's definitely what Mark and Chris kind of reiterated, was the main part was that these things are tanks. They're flying tanks. And, I mean, it takes a team of steel and all kinds of other bismuth and whatever you're throwing at them to really bring them down. And even some of those, I mean, they went down and they got right back up and tried to fly off again. You got to put them down again. So for me, the whole idea that these are kind of prehistoric flying dinosaurs. I mean, as they fly in and just spread that wings in front of you, catching the wind, that was kind of an amazing sight. And seeing 50, 20, 150 of them kind of do it all at the same time, that was pretty amazing.
The way the terrain is. Yeah, you want to say something else?
Yeah. I just want to say that Antonio had the corner on the best beef jerky in the blind today. That really hit the spot a couple of times.
A+ snacks in the blind this morning. The way the terrain is out here, it's super flat, really open, and so you'd be sitting in the blind looking around with your binoculars and see birds over a mile away at some points, flying, kind of going their own way. And it was an interesting dance watching the guides pull out the crane flag and then start blowing on their crane calls and whatnot, and then see these birds super long way out there, over a mile away or whatever, sometimes more, turn and start heading our way, and then you see them pick up the decoys, and then they start circling downwind and coming in, and like Dave was saying, the wind was 10, 20 miles an hour at various different points today, and so they're just kind of cruising into the wind, just taking their sweet time getting towards us, and then they'll let the wind blow them one way or another, and when they really want to get after it and have the wind go with the wind, they can move, but man, when they're being real careful, circling your blind, seeing what is going on, and then just coming real slow into the wind, it is just an agonizingly slow wait to get them to come in. But my goodness, it is super cool when it all happens and when it all comes together. So it was a really cool team effort getting everything put together out there today, with the scouting that the guides did, finding the right spot to do this, putting the decoys out in the right way, hiding everything, and then doing all the stuff you got to do to bring them in like that. And then that's just kind of the start of the game, to get them in to within shooting range and then bringing them down. And then they're smart enough and their eyesight is good enough that they'll pick up on shotgun shells in your decoy spread or a dead crane laying out there. And so it's a mad dash. When one group is taken care of, go out there, clean up everything, get everything back in the blind and hiding again before the next group comes in. And so it was a lot of action. It was a lot of fun. And I'm hoping we are going to have another good day doing that. But regardless of how things turn out tomorrow, I had a great time with you gentlemen out there today. And I greatly appreciate you joining me on this hunt. It's been a lot of fun. We're going to have a great day tomorrow, and looking forward to doing another hunt with you guys again soon. Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed that. And like I mentioned earlier, I'm currently working on a more detailed recap of that hunt, along with some lessons learned that you'll receive in a few days. Now, I have not made firm plans for additional podcast hunting opportunities yet. We do have that podcast hunt in Africa coming up in May, but it's already full. And I'm also really looking forward to that trip with the three of you who will be joining me there. That said, I had a great time on this hunt with this group of guys, and I'm strongly considering doing another one. I really like hanging out with the listeners who joined me, and I feel like most of those guys really liked each other and also got along really well. There's a good chance that if I do another hunt like this, that we will return for another crane hunt with Western Wing Outfitters, but I haven't decided 100% yet, and I am looking at a couple of different options. If this sounds appealing to you and you want first crack at joining me on one of these hunts, if I do decide to organize another one in the future, make sure you're supporting me on Patreon. If we decide to do this again, I will announce the hunting opportunity there first, and those who support me on Patreon will also have priority on available spots. Additionally, shoot me an email or message me through Patreon if you're interested in doing this and, some sort of hunt like this. And if you are, if you want to do another Sandhill crane hunt, or if you want to do something else and some ideas like that. No promises on any of this stuff yet, but I will take all of that stuff under consideration. Now, additionally, if you are supporting me on Patreon, you will also get access to all the bonus material I put out for my Patreon supporters, like that video of this hunt that I will be releasing on Patreon before I release anywhere else. So click the link in the show notes or go to patreon.com/biggamehunter. And Patreon is spelled Patreon. Be on the lookout for that next episode where I recap this hunt in a little bit more detail. Remember, you can make your dream hunt turn into a reality, and I can help. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you back here next time on the Big Game Hunting Podcast.
This show may be over, but we have plenty more for you on our website. For more information on today's topic, as well as lots of other useful hunting resources, head over to the BigGameHuntingBlog.com. We look forward to having you back for the next episode. But until then, happy hunting.